Welcome to another IronCAD tutorial. This is a tube breaker coming from Too Tall Toby's practice models, dated April 8th, 2024. This model is fairly simple. It basically comprises of a base material, kind of a rectangle base, a cylinder with some counter holes here, another cylinder which actually has two holes, one that's got a taper on it and one that's just a straight hole, and then just a couple of ribs on it. So we'll go ahead and show you how to build this in IronCAD. Some key notes. Again, the dimensions are this angle of this particular face here. We're going to show you how to do that in IronCAD in kind of a unique way. And the taper here, but everything else is pretty much straightforward, except for, the rib is not really dimensioned out. It just got a spacing from this outside edge here. So let's go ahead and build this in IronCAD. We'll start with our units first. So this file is actually in a millimeter, so I haven't shown this in the other videos, but we do have our units here that you can change, and we want to do in grams and millimeters. So we'll just change our units for our scene, and we'll drag and drop our extrude shape out to start off with. So this is the base, and we have an overall dimension of 120 by 80 by 12 high. So we just set that in there for our base of our model. Now, one of the things that we can do is we can add blends or fillets on this by selecting each one of these edges and then running the command, typing in the value. That's one approach. Another approach is go to the feature, right click and go to the surface reshaping. We actually have a bevel command here, so we can actually do the side edges, and we want to have a bevel of 15 on all sides. So that's an easy way to apply that as well. Next, we'll go ahead and drag and drop a cylinder on here. And this is our main cylinder that we're going to start with. And this has a diameter of 55, and it has a height from the very bottom edge. So what we'll do is just right click and get an edit distance from the bottom edge. In this case, it is 80 as well. So that's how we can set that up. Now, what we need to do is this position is not on the center. It's actually a certain distance from this edge and a certain distance from this back edge. And to do that, we're just going to use the tri-ball to position this. And what I'm going to do is just kind of move this over to this edge here, and I can move this one over to this far edge over there. So I basically put it in the corner, because then I can just use my move on the plane tool. And I'm just going to right click and say move here, and I can type in those values. So we know the first one's 73 from the far edge, and then the other one is 30 to position that. So that's an easy way to position that there. Next, we'll go ahead and put on our rectangular rib here. So what I'm going to do is drop that actually on the center point of our face here, because we know that it has it's in the center line of this, but it has a width of 8, and so I'm just going to right click and do a symmetrical size and set that to 8. And now we want to set this from this outside face 8 millimeters back. So I can just pull it out, take the total value minus 8 to get that offset to the right value. The height really doesn't matter here, because we'll position the height based on the cylinder that we're going to use. So let's go ahead and do that one now. So we'll drag and drop a cylinder. I'm just going to put it on this point, and I'll rotate it over 90 degrees. It doesn't matter which way it's going there. So we'll just do it there, and I'm going to pull this out. And so basically what it has is a couple dimensions here. One, the center line of this is on the center point, or center, the center of this arc is where this is aligned to. It also has a height from the bottom edge, and we want to go ahead and to position that, we'll just use the tri-ball to do that. So to do the tri-ball, we can just lock this axis here, and we're just going to hold our shift key and get to the center point there to align that. And we know the bottom of that is 50 millimeters from the bottom. So we'll just right click, add a distance from point, and we can type in 50 millimeters there. The next thing is we know that this has to have a total length of 90, but 40 from the center out to the right and 50 to the other side. So to do that, we can just use those same handles that we had before. Instead of edit distance from point, we'll just do to center point. We'll select that, and we know that one needs to be 40. We know the other one needs to be 50. We can do the same thing, or just click this, change it to 90, and we'll have that value set. So that's an easy way to set that. One thing else, this does have a diameter of 40, so we already got that set, so we're good there. So now we'll go ahead and do our holes. The first one, we have a cut cylinder here. We're going to drag and drop that out. I'm just going to pull it in a little ways, and it has a diameter on this guy at 33. And we need to taper this. So again, we can do a draft on this face, but we can also go into those same IntelliShape surface reshaping properties, and we have a side taper that we can do. We want to do -4. So -4 will give us a total of 8 on the draft between those two. So that gives us our draft there. And then we can drag and drop another cylinder on the other side, which has a diameter of 25, I believe, yeah, in there. So that will give us our total there for that model. So that's an easy way to create that. So again, that one's with our 33, with our draft, and 25 on the other side. So that was fairly easy to do that. Next, we'll go ahead and do this rib feature. And in our catalog, we have, under our shapes catalog, we have a rib feature that we can drag and drop out here. That doesn't really matter where I'm dropping it because I'm going to use a triball to position it. One thing I'm going to do is rotate it around, and then I'm just going to lock this down to move to the center point of this. So I can snap precisely to that center point up there to get that, or I can do it to the arc itself as well. It has a width on this guy of 8, so we'll go ahead and type that in, and this is already set up to do symmetrical sizing for that. And then we can just pull this in this way a little bit, and we'll go ahead and align this to the edge. So what we need to do is we want this angle to be at a 56-degree angle. So one way we can do that is what we call direct face modification. So there's multiple ways we can do this. We can apply a draft on this and adjust it. We can go to the sketch, which most people will do is go in the sketch, put an angle on this, drive it that way. This is just another option I haven't shown before. We'll just go in here, select the face level, and turn the triball. And this puts us into our direct modification mode. And I'm just going to hit our space bar to move our triball down to our bottom here. And what we want to do in our case is we actually want to align this initially down to this edge here. So we're going to align this down to this edge here. So it's aligned there. And then we can just simply rotate that up to 56 degrees. Now, on our settings, we have one that says apply to the IntelliShape. So if you don't have this on, it applies it to the entire part. So it's a true direct editing on the part. If you do it to the IntelliShape, you will only modify what it needs to on the features to do that. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And it's almost just like applying a draft to this model. So you still have all our handles, we can still modify this, but it applied it to the feature. So as you can see, when it's got that 55-degree angle, or sorry, 56-degree angle, it will have some extra geometry on here. We can just select onto this face, pull it to basically do an extrude cut to remove that. So that just gets rid of that extra geometry there. And last, we need to do some of our holes here. And we'll go through and use our hole tool. We can also use the starter catalog, which has a cut through hole. So we'll go ahead and drag and drop that one out first. And it has a diameter of 25 as our starting point. Next, we'll drop a cut cylinder on that center point. And it has a diameter of 47, and we're going to hit enter a couple times to get our bottom handle, and the depth of that one is 4. And then we do another cut cylinder. Again, we don't want to drop it on this bottom because it'll start here, and the drawing has a reference from the top edge. So we're going to hold our shift key down, pick this edge, and it'll drop it into the center for us, referencing that top face or that top edge. In this case, it's got a diameter of 38, and we'll hit enter a couple times to get our bottom handle, and a depth of 20. So that will give us our counterboards there. We can do the same thing here. We can also use our hole tool either way to build these counterboards down here, but we'll just do it the same way. Drop it onto the center point. It has a diameter of, let me look at that, 6 millimeters there. And then our counterbore, we're going to drop that on the center point. It has a diameter of 12 and a depth of 4 for that. And now we need to make a couple copies of this to the other side. And we're going to use what we call links. So we're going to select both of these features. So we can select, holding the shift key down, multi-select, turn the tribal on. And what we can do is right click on our center point and come over to our edge and hold the shift key down, and we'll get it to the center point. We'll make a link there. So what a link is almost like a relationship. So any changes to these features on any one of these models, they will update all the features on anything that's linked to it. So we'll just create those features there. They're all linked. So if I make any changes, you can see those are all linked together. I can make a change, but they can be positionally anywhere. It's not like a part pattern where it's a parent-child relationship. Any one of these can be edited, but they're all linked geometry. So anyways, that's how we can build that in IronCAD. So that's the model there, easily done in IronCAD. If you go to the properties here, we can put in the mass density, which is 7,800. So we're sitting at 2194 or 2195 grams for this model. So that's how you can build this in IronCAD. Kind of unique here. We didn't have to go into any sketches at all for this model. So wanted to show you that kind of direct face modeling capability with the tribal, which is really unique in this model. So hopefully everybody enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.